Skulu, Skulu, you look good.
Yo, Skulu, aren't you forgetting something?
Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys.
So where you going now?
I'm coming back now.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
Sometimes you have to let old information make way for new information. Wow. Adam Grant. Yeah, I just read a book about Adam Grant, and I must say I'm impressed. It's an amazing book. Yeah, it's a book that will be reviewing it today. Yeah, Adam Grant. I'm not even glazing Adam Grant. But then first, wait, let's just get to who is Adam Grant. So Adam Grant. So who is Adam Grant? Adam Grant, okay. First of all, how I discovered Adam Grant was through a friend from high school. He's still my friend right now. I'm very thankful to him because, I wouldn't have discovered Adam Grant if I didn't know him. So, that's how the world works, I guess, networking. But then, okay, let's go back to who is Adam Grant. Adam Grant is an organizational psychologist. He has worked at Google. He has worked with the likes of Bill Gates. His pioneering research has inspired people to rethink about their fundamental assumptions about generosity, creativity, and also motivation. And he has also been honored with awards from American Psychological Association and National Science Foundation. So that's who Adam Grant is. Adam Grant, his net worth is not publicly available, but then various sources estimated that his net worth is around $10 million. So that's who Adam Grant is in a nutshell. He's a fantastic guy because I've actually read one of his books, which is Think Again. Think Again by Adam Grant. What else? Adam Grant is a management thinker. That's all I can say about Adam Grant. So let's just go to reviewing a book that I read about Adam Grant. I hope you enjoy. Wait, before we review this book about Adam Grant, I really wanted to speak about or review this book during December, but then the next few clips will just explain why I couldn't, review this book during December. It's just a glimpse from my December. A glass of water is always important. Just grab the glass of water before we dive into the review. So hello to everyone that's here. Once again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it that you're here to check out the review with me. So today, as I've said before, that we'll be reviewing a book that's written by Adam Grant, organizational psychologist. So first thing that maybe people don't understand about, I never go to chapter to chapter and analyze or speak about every chapter, but then the only thing I do is I pick out my favorite chapters, because if I go chapter to chapter, you guys will know everything about the book. Then I feel as if I'll be spoiling it. Now imagine you're going to go and have you imagine going to go and have to buy a book, but then you already know what's happening in the entire book. So what I do is I just highlight interesting parts about a book that I've read, then just pick out a few chapters. So in this book by Adam Grant, I think again I've picked out 3 chapters, which is chapter 1, 3, and 4. So the first chapter that I'll be diving into is titled "A Preacher, a Prosecutor, a Politician, and a Scientist Walk into Your Mind." So what Adam Grant does in this first chapter, he classifies or defines a preacher, a prosecutor, and a politician, and a scientist in his own words. He explains that when we go into preacher mode, it's when we see that our beliefs or the ideas that we have or the facts that we hold are in jeopardy. So we go out there, we deliver sermons to protect them and to protect and promote our ideals. That is when we go into preacher mode. Then we go into prosecutor mode is when we recognize like mistakes or flaws in other people's reasoning. We marshal arguments to prove them wrong and then to try and win our case. That's when we go into prosecutor mode. Then we shift into becoming a politician is when we're seeking to win sort of like an audience, when we're looking forward to, or when we're trying to win a certain audience into our side, into our beliefs and into our ideas. That's when we dive into politician mode. Okay, first of all, that I think something I should notify that me explaining or trying to review this book, it might be difficult like this. Unlike the first book that I reviewed, it was a nice and simple finance book, but then this book is more complex since it's a psychology book. So this is sort of like the foundation that I'm trying to give you guys about the book. Then maybe you can try and look to other sources what the book like goes through and what the book is about. So where was I was at politician. Politician is when we're trying to win an audience and trying to make that we're trying to win an audience over to our side, and we try to make them believe towards our ideas or our beliefs or our facts Then he explains like being a scientist as in it's not just a profession, it's like a frame of work. It's a frame of mind. It's a mode that differs obviously from like politicking and prosecuting and just being a preacher. It's a mode that's based on like facts. It's based on facts. It's based on when we shift towards being a scientist, we run experiments, hypotheses, and discover knowledge. That's when we go into scientist mode. That's the thing. I'm currently so eager to explain everything that happens in chapter 1, but then it's basically gonna spoil it. So that's how Adam Grant defines the 4 categories, which is the preacher, the prosecutor, the politician, and the scientist. So that's chapter 1. That's about it with chapter 1. And he goes on and to say like thinking like a scientist, it requires us to be like actively like open-minded, open-minded. And one thing, another thing he does in chapter 1, he displays the disadvantages of being like the prosecutor, the preacher, and the politician. He displays disadvantage. For example, whenever we're preaching, we can never like or we have sort of this ability of seeing our gaps in our own knowledge, that we believe we've already found the truth. Whenever you're preaching, you believe like, okay, I found the truth. Then you can't see gaps in your knowledge. But then rather than like being a scientist, you run experiments, you actively open-minded, you listen to other people, what they say. Then even in chapter 1, a nice thing, he also explains about Mike's story, like the downfall of BlackBerry, and he classifies him on which side he was in the other three P's, which is the preacher, the prosecutor, the politician. And instead of him trying to be like a scientist and trying to be actively more open-minded into like new ideas. So that was chapter 1 in a nutshell. Then now we're moving into chapter 3. Chapter 3 is like the joy. Let me just fix my chair. Chapter 3 was the joy of being wrong. The title of chapter 3 is the joy of being wrong. So he explains how being wrong shouldn't be shouldn't be associated with negativity, because being wrong, it's actually some sort of evidence that you have. There's a certain effort that you have tried to put into you leading to being wrong. Because if you're never wrong, that means there's no sort of evidence or work that you have pushed in trying to be wrong. There's nothing. Just like, okay, I'm trying to create an example. Okay, let's say I'm playing. Let's say I'm a football coach, then there's systems in the football in the match that I try and put. Then that system does not work out during that match. It shows that, okay, I was wrong during those systems. It shows that there's evidence that I did to prove that you guys get it. I hope you guys get it, man. But he speaks about, if you don't look back to yourself, like we're still at chapter 3. He speaks about, if you don't look back to yourself like a year ago and think about how stupid I was, stuff like that, that means you haven't really acquired much or learned much throughout the year. And he explains that if being wrong repeatedly leads us to the right answer, then the experience of being wrong, we should find it joyful. And he explains how when we find out that we might be wrong, everyone's standard defense is, I'm entitled to my opinion. But then he likes to modify it, that it's to hold opinions inside our heads. If we choose to express them, we should have the responsibility is with us to try and protect it with facts, and we should try and protect it with facts, with facts. But then if new facts are matches about the opinions we had in our own heads, we shouldn't be like the preacher or the prosecutor or the politician, but then we should try be a scientist and try look at the other facts that emerges and see how you can attach facts that emerges towards yourself and stuff like that. And every time we encounter new information, we have a choice. We can attach our opinions to our identities and stand our ground in the stubbornness of preaching and persecuting, or we can try and operate more like scientists and understand the new information that's emerging, and we shouldn't try and pursue the other person to come over your side, but then we should try to stay intact and try understand the new information that's uprising towards your side, So that's chapter 3, the joy of being wrong. I would say it's my favorite chapter in the book. Although every chapter in the book was my favorite chapter, I would say the joy of being wrong was my favorite chapter. Then finally, the last chapter is chapter 4, the Good Fight Club. It's the psychology of a constructive conflict. It's more about he explains how like in if how a discussion brings out new ideas, you know, if we're having a discussion, how it brings out new ideas instead of instead of taking discussions sort of some sort of war, instead of like just it being a discussion or taking a discussion as in a debate, both parties won't learn much from each other. But then whenever we take like discussions like as some sort of discussion, yeah, if we take discussion some sort of discussion and not a debate or a war, then both parties are meant to increase and are meant to like increase in their knowledge, because one is trying to put themselves in the other person's shoes, and also the other party is trying to put themselves in the other person's shoes to learn how one thinks and how the other thinks. You know, that's how you grow in information. I think also chapter 4 was a good chapter, and he also expresses if you're with someone else and you're having a discussion and you guys are not agreeing into like certain points or certain opinions, you shouldn't try and be a preacher to that person or a prosecutor or, you know, politic to them in order, or try to take them to over your side. But then you should try to be a scientist and understand their facts and where they're coming from, which leads to the other person having the freedom to share more information with you. Then in that way you learn to grow. Yeah, so that's chapter 4, the Good Fight Club, the psychology of a constructive conflict. Yeah, that was the book. Yeah, think again, Adam Grant. I feel as if I would start like explaining the book from now, like from scratch, it would bring like a lot of complexity to the people watching here. And I think you should like just try Google the book, what's about, and maybe go to your nearest bookshop and just check out the book. It's a really amazing book. I do recommend it. Well, there's a lot of chapters in the book, like dancing with your foes, you know, how to win debates and influence people. And also like there's the last chapter was also my favorite, like escaping tunnel vision. Yeah, reconsidering our best late career. Then yeah, that's the book in a nutshell. Yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.
Yo guys, it's Kulu again. Yeah, thank you if you have made it to this part of the video, the end. Please subscribe, like, share and comment. I appreciate you guys.